Welcome back. We're joined by Mike Scherer, Vice President of Agri Solutions today. And Mike, thanks for joining us on the show.
It's good to be here, Brian.
We're coming into spring. Spring's one of those times where we don't know if we're going to get hail, we're going to get wind, we're going to get tornadoes, and we need to be thinking about protections.
That's right. A lot of uncertainty out there. So yeah, producers, corn, soybean, grain, sorghum crops, they've already made their multi-peril crop insurance coverage decisions. But as we enter the growing season, get the crops in the ground and they start to emerge and hopefully look good, there's some other coverage options producers can certainly think about in terms of hail insurance, fire insurance, wind insurance, things of that nature.
How many producers take advantage of those opportunities?
Yeah, it's a good question. That's something we've seen change a lot actually over the last 8 to 10 years. I'd say 8 to 10 years ago, of our clients, maybe 20 to 40% used some form of hail or wind type coverage on corn and soybeans primarily. And that's really changed in the last few years for a couple reasons. I think commodity prices, the value of the crop being so much higher has of course increased producers' interest in covering that more, protecting that asset better. And then on the multi-peril side, we've seen a lot of producers switch to enterprise unit coverage, which for those who may not know, that's where all of their crops within a county are combined, or all their acreage of a crop within a county is combined on their multi-peril policy into one coverage unit. And there's a significant premium discount for doing that, which is what has pushed a lot of producers in that direction. But it does leave you open to some spot loss risk exposure that can happen in a hail or windstorm, as of course we've seen.
Well, when we talk about hail, when we look at the protection that we're getting, is it total protection, partial protection? I mean, how does that work out?
That's entirely up to the producer. The way you usually work hail insurance is you choose dollars of coverage that you want per acre. And that's just a real personal preference. That's one of the most common questions we get from producers is, how much coverage should I carry? And I always say that's really a personal decision. At the end of the day, it probably comes down to you need as much coverage as you need to go to sleep at night and sleep well when they're talking about a storm. And then the premiums, of course, are just based on how many dollars of coverage you've chosen.
Well, I think in the long run, I think when you look at the protection that can be provided and the cost of seed nowadays,
exactly.
You certainly want to have that protection.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a second. You can find us on the web at kansasAGreport.com and make sure to like us on Facebook.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
Mike, we're going to finish up here. One of the questions I didn't get to ask you in our first segment is what should producers be asking their crop insurance? If they're not going with you, what should they be asking?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the big difference with like hail or wind type coverage like we were talking compared to MPCI is the hail and wind coverage is a private product, which means, first of all, there's no government subsidy. Mm-hmm. And coverage and rates can vary greatly between companies. So I think it's important to try to talk to an independent agent that represents more than one company to see what the best coverage is for you. For instance, we represent 4 companies, and I ran some numbers for Shawnee County, Kansas here, just as a representation. And between our 4 companies even, on hail rates on corn, the average difference between the highest and the lowest was 50 cents a hundred. Doesn't seem like much, but if you're purchasing $600 worth of coverage, that's $3 an acre. 1,000 acres of corn or something, that's $3,000. You look at wind coverage, saw the same type of numbers, a potential difference of like 65 cents a hundred for wind coverage between different companies. So you add that on top there, pretty soon you can be looking at $5, $6, $7 an acre in premium difference between companies. So that's important, and then the coverage terms can vary as well. So when coverage begins, when it expires, things of that nature can be very important when you find yourself in a loss situation.
County of origin may play a big difference in that?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, like I said, the most expensive company I showed here for Shawnee County, if you move to Douglas County, it might be the cheapest. It's hard to say. So you really have to look at your individual situation with your agent and see what the best fit is.
Let's jump into wheat. Wheat's had a tough year. We didn't get much snow cover, very cold temperatures, poor moisture coming into spring. Wheat's struggling right now.
Exactly, and that's a concern. Now, I always say, I think wheat dies 3 or 4 times during the growing season. But for producers right now, we've heard from several clients recently who are concerned about their wheat. It's a complicated enough situation. I probably can't get into all the details right
sure.
here. But the biggest thing I would tell people is they need to contact their agent and start letting them know that they're concerned about the wheat. They're not sure if they're going to take it to harvest. So they can get an adjuster out to take a look at it and kind of get that ball moving forward, because there's a lot of decisions to make, and it's not always real simple, especially with wheat.
Well, this shouldn't be a one-time visit. This should probably be several times over the next several months, I would think.
Exactly. That's what I would say, and to contact your agent to start that conversation, because the decision that's right today may change in a week due to moisture conditions or who knows what. So, but yeah, get the ball rolling is a big thing in wheat, so that when you do maybe get a chance to get in the field and you're ready to destroy it and plant it to another crop, you have all the information you need to make that decision.
And something we haven't talked about is the relationship between your agent and the farmer. How important is that?
It can be very important. Like I said, in situations like that, you just have to have that open communication, and both the agent and the producer be available and open with each other about what's going on and what their intentions are. And so the agent can help the producer understand the rules and make sure everything works out well.
Well, crop insurance is a tangled web, I guess, is probably the best way to put it, and you need someone who's experienced to walk you through that.
Yes, and it seems to get more that way every year.
Well, Mike, tell everybody AgRisk Solutions, the best way to find you guys.
Probably our website would be www.ag-risk-solutions.com. If you'd like to call us on the phone, 913-367-4711.
Well, we've certainly enjoyed having Mike Scherer here from AgRisk Solutions, kind of opening our eyes to some issues coming up into the spring, hail and wind damage, and certainly the wheat damage. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.